Jesus says, you don't have any experience with this. Yeah, this is different. What I really had to wrestle with, and I want you to hear my heart. I'm not going to yell. I'm going to say it as plainly as I can so you don't miss it in the passion. That when we discover, and Jesus is teaching them that even though he tried to explain to them, we've come to the conclusion that this is inexplicable. Even Jesus couldn't get them to understand. And we understand that this is inexplicable. It's something that is not able to be explained. But here's the thing that got me, that not only does inexplicable mean that you're unable to explain it, watch this, it also means that you're unable to interpret it. There's no explanation for why my cancer came back. I know everybody has, I can tell you how many DMs I get. Everybody knows why it came back, because I didn't eat this and I should have ate that. And I've had genetic tests and the doctors have talked about it. And one set of doctors say this is kind of common. Another set of doctors say, well, this is kind of rare. We have no idea that why within a year. It's inexplicable. But I get that part. Come on now, most of us, we get that. There's just some stuff, I talked about that last week, uncertainty. There's some stuff that you don't have the ability to explain. That's not the problem for most of us. You know what the problem is for most of us? It's not that it is unexplainable. It's the fact that we can't interpret the meaning behind what's happening. There's no interpretation for this. And you know why that's so hard? Can I be honest with you? And I might say something that might offend some people, because a lot of us have said this. I've said this in the past too. We've taught ourselves, especially as Christians, to say everything happens for a reason. But you notice that we only say that about stuff that's bad. We never use that to try to interpret stuff that is good. You know why? Because when you get blessed, you don't care why you got blessed. You just receive it. You don't need an explanation. You don't need an interpretation. Thank you, Lord. But when stuff goes wrong and we're unable to explain it and we're not able to interpret it, we tell ourselves, well, everything happens for a reason. I have come to believe, maybe it's just me, you don't have to agree with me, that there's some stuff that just happens. There is no good reason for somebody to die of cancer. There's no good reason why almost 1 million people died from a virus. No, everything doesn't happen for a reason. Everything just happens. It is true and it is necessary to understand, watch me, and I told you I'm not going to be loud on this part because some of us need to hear this. That when we face a situation that is inexplicable and a situation for which we are inexperienced, I think it's okay to say that instead of trying to interpret a season of sorrow, remember Jesus says you're going to have some sorrow, you're going to have some pain, it's going to be awful for a while, and that's temporary, and Jesus knows it's inexplicable, and he knows, and he tells the disciples, you are inexperienced. But I think it's okay for us, especially for those of us who are Christians, to start to understand that it is not necessary, watch me, to always have an interpretation of what goes wrong in order for us to move on. In other words, can I just be real with you? Some of you have been waiting on what we call closure to move on and enjoy your life, but some things just happen. There may be no reason for why he left you. There may be no reason for why they died. There may be no reason for why you lost your job. Everything doesn't happen for a reason. Everything just happens. And what Jesus tells them is, you haven't done this before. You have no experience with this, and don't feel the need to try to interpret why this is happening. You know what he does give them? They have inexperience. They have a situation that is inexplicable. But Jesus, instead of trying to get them to interpret it, he gives them an invitation. He says, in the face of what is inexplicable, I can't understand it and I can't interpret it, and in the face of something for which you are inexperienced, I want to give you an invitation. That instead of seeking closure and a reason and wrestling with why did this happen and somehow thinking that maybe there's something that you've done or maybe God's trying to get you and maybe you just can't explain it, it is inexplicable and I can't interpret it. I can't personally find any meaning out of why I'm dealing with cancer for 2 times in 2 years. I've tried to interpret it, tried to figure out what is the message behind this. There is no interpretation, but Jesus gave me an invitation that I want to extend to you. In the face of things that are inexplicable and in the face for things for which you are inexperienced, accept his invitation. Did you catch what he says? I want you to ask for joy.